Morning Commute on Brave New Radio. Vaunt League Justice Greg, Suzette Ramirez. Good morning. Um, let's talk about a man. He's debatably,
The GOAT.
yeah, the GOAT. He's one of the, if not the greatest comedians of our time. All right,
Yeah, I think in my opinion.
one of.
I
He's
think-
up there. That's
Yes,
undeniable.
Who would you
he's
say?
not unfunny. I'm not gonna act like he's not funny. I'm just gonna say his
No,
jokes are
but
a little
honestly,
problematic.
and
Therefore,
I
I don't think we should give him that title.
I have.
You just said.
I'll for the first time in history, I low-key have to give Suzette her credit right there, and I'll explain why in a bit. But preface what we're talking about.
I do want to get back to this conversation because I want to know who is your GOAT. But let's get into this first. So the possible GOAT, Dave Chappelle, released his final Netflix special under his his latest deal with Netflix. It's titled The Closer. He released it on last Tuesday, and once again he has offended the LGBTQ plus community.
Of course.
More specifically, Dave has a history of offending transgender people, and he did once again in this special. He's been getting dragged on many news sources and social media outlets, CNN, Fox, all that. Jacqueline Moore, writer and showrunner for Dear White People, was actually stepped down from Netflix and will no longer work with them, boycotting this special and Dave Chappelle. So a lot of people feel strongly about this. Most of the special actually was Dave talking about transgender people. Like I would say, did you guys watch the special?
I've seen clips.
yes.
Yeah, so I saw the whole special. A big chunk of it was about transgender people, I will say. A clip that has gotten the most amount of traction, I'd say, is a clip I'm about to play. It's Dave talking about the baby situation when he was in hot water with the LGBTQ community. So here's a clip.
But I do believe, and I'll make this point later, that the kid made a very egregious mistake. I will acknowledge that. But, you know, a lot of the LGBTQ community doesn't know the baby's history. He's a wild guy. He once shot a nigga and killed him in Walmart. Oh, this is true. Google it. The baby shot and killed a nigga in Walmart in North Carolina. Nothing bad happened to his career. Do you see where I'm going with this? In our country, you can shoot and kill a nigga, but you better not hurt a gay person's feelings.
But wasn't this justified from what I wasn't this like a justified killing? People were saying it was self-defense, right?
I think so.
I'm not defending. I'm asking.
I believe so.
This is an inquiry.
I'm not 100%, but also you took a man's life. Regardless.
I mean, if it was self-defense, though.
No, I mean, if it was self-defense, like, I understand. But, like, people were more outraged. I understand Dave Chappelle's point. I'm not going to agree with what he said. But I understand his point. You feel me? I understand what he's saying in that because, obviously, a life matters more than, like, someone being offended. And to that extent, I agree. Anything more so than what he said? Not at all. Because,
Okay.
like, you feel me?
So when it comes to Dave Chappelle, when it comes to comedians in general, something I've learned as of late is I can't say something isn't offensive or is offensive if I'm not the one being offended.
You're not the target.
Yeah. So I'm not going to say that what he said in this special was or was not offensive.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my place.
In your opinion, you can say that in your opinion it was wrong though. It seemed wrong at least.
Yeah. I do think that Dave, since he's been back, he's targeted. He's made a lot of transgender jokes, and I think that he said on multiple occasions, like, "Oh yeah, the transgender people, they hate me," and I think he kind of like ran with that during this special, and he kind of like tried to clear up some misconceptions, I guess, about him and LGBTQ plus community.
Dave Chappelle sounds like he's offended.
Low
Right?
key,
The audacity, right?
yeah, low key.
He sounds like he's hurt.
I feel like he's trying to compare like.
Apples to oranges.
Not even that. Like,
No.
I think he tries to compare a lot, like, gay people's struggles or transgender people's struggles, and it's like, okay, but like, look at black people's struggles. So he kind of like shrugs it off in a way, kind of.
He tries to make it seem like gay people's struggles are nowhere near as bad as black people's struggles. And not to say that they are, but they're different struggles, and therefore you shouldn't compare
They are different struggles,
like
for
that's
sure.
the thing. Like, not that what he's saying is wrong, but like those are two things that you shouldn't have to compare because both of them are wrong in their own right, and therefore should not be used to balance each other out.
I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that there's still Dave Chappelle, if we're being honest, he's at a point where, one, he said in the special, or he said like after the special, in regard to all this, he was like, if this is what being canceled feels like, I love it. So he's fine. You can.
He doesn't care.
Yeah, and Netflix like.
It's kind of bad though. Like he's just gonna go off the roll.
I mean, I do agree with the fact that like that shouldn't be like. It's
Nope.
like, oh, like if you're gonna shoot me, like, yay, woohoo, like I don't really care, like I'm invincible, but like I mean. I don't know. I just feel like it's wrong, but at the same time, it's right because like the people wanted to cancel people wanted Netflix to take down the last Dave Chappelle special, and they didn't because Dave Chappelle just is of like he's of a certain stature. But should that be allowed? Like, should there be like I guess exceptions?
He should not be untouchable.
Should there be exceptions?
First, I think a quote from Dave Chappelle from this special that sums him up. He basically said that they were killing him on Twitter, which doesn't matter because Twitter isn't a real place. I don't think he cares. I don't think he cares, for one.
He doesn't.
And two, so do you guys think that from what you saw, the stuff that you saw from the special, do you think this warrants him like getting takedown from Netflix, getting like you think there should be repercussions?
Evidently
I
not.
don't think
People
that
watched
this
it.
specific situation necessarily warrants this, but this in conjunction with all the other stuff that he said, I think is more than enough reason for Netflix to take some action against what he's doing.
So you think they should pull his stuff?
Yeah, because he has time and time again said problematic things.
Okay, so Suzette said that and it triggered something in my head. I can't say like, oh, Dave Chappelle is untouchable when Wendy Williams goes on the air and says the same stuff and I crucify her. So like,
she getting off the air soon, if we're being honest here. Like, her show is about to be ended because of whatever situation she has going on. So I feel like if she's facing the same kind of repercussions for her actions, then Dave
but she's
Chappelle,
not facing. She's only facing repercussions. She's not even repercussions. Her show's only being in jeopardy of being canceled because she's incapable of doing it. It's not because she's facing.
But there are reasons behind that. But that's neither here nor there. That's not the point I'm trying to make. I'm just saying that like Wendy has always been the kind of person that you look at with harsh criticism, and I feel like a lot of people let Dave Chappelle get away with this kind of thing because he's a man and because they think it's funny and because his delivery is oftentimes entertaining.
I don't think it entirely has to do with the
you.
man thing because I could say the same thing about Wendy Williams.
It's more so necessarily about his delivery because not for nothing, Dave Chappelle knows how to make stuff that's messed up and you shouldn't joke about funny.
For sure.
And I feel like that's why people let him get away with it. And I'm like, listen, just because it's funny doesn't mean it's right. And
okay, but to counter argue that though, like you could say the same thing about Wendy Williams because like she's like not the Queen of New York is Angie Martinez, but like because she's been a voice in radio, well in I guess broadcasting for so long. So like, what is the exception there? It can't be because she's a because she's a man.
I don't think she's an exception. I just also don't think that she said anything nearly as bad as Dave Chappelle.
Bro, we could run down the track list. You evidently didn't listen to the show prior to this.
We doing a
and
versus?
look. Like Vaughn said, they were trying to take the last Dave Chappelle special down. Dave Chappelle's been saying wild stuff since forever.
Nah, I
He
know.
popped out the womb.
Yeah, since the first episode of the Dave Chappelle. I'm pretty sure it was the first episode where it was the blind black guy who's a KKK leader.
Yeah.
He's been pushing the envelope for years now.
Mm-hmm.
So you think that they should take his stuff off Netflix?
Yeah, because not only is it offending them, but it's also losing them valuable producers who are putting in the effort to their company.
See,
and also it's offensive to not just gay people, but also to other people who are like, it's not just offensive to him because like I'm offended. I mean, not offended, but like I feel like that's not okay.
Yeah, you seem like it seems like it's wrong.
I don't know, man.
You
I
feel
don't
me?
know. Like I said, I was not the target. So I'm not gonna say it was or what. I think it was offensive. I'll say that. But I also think that it's comedy, man.
That's one thing. That's one. So first of all, we'll go back to what Suzette said in the beginning. Dave Chappelle, at least in recent years, because I haven't seen a lot of Dave Chappelle's earlier stuff. Dave Chappelle I feel like Dave Chappelle's stuff now is more based on him preaching more than it is actually telling jokes. I've seen Dave Chappelle tell jokes, but I think Dave Chappelle's reached a point in his career, like we just said, where he just is like, oh, I'll do whatever, because I'm Dave Chappelle.
Talking.
I have a name, and I'm able to use that platform. You remember we talked about one of our last show of last year. We talked about when he hosted SNL, and that wasn't even like he did like a set for his monologue, but it was still him ranting about like Trump and Biden and all of that. But however, I feel like comedy is also like you have to be prepared, and I think there is again a line. There definitely is a line, but I think you do have to be prepared, just for like the gloves to be off.
Yeah.
For backlash, also, you have to be prepared.
Well, no, like audience
Some people
members,
don't care, though.
audience members, like listeners and
Yeah.
consumers have to be like, oh, I might get offended by
prepared
this.
to be offended.
And
But also, like, should you? Because honestly, if you're really that funny, you shouldn't have to offend people in order to be funny.
No, 'cause comedy is making fun of something.
so I don't think comedy should be filtered though.
Comedy is making
You know?
fun of something. Comedy is it's whether it's a subject matter or a person. That's what comedy is.
And I'm not gonna say that. Look, some of the
Okay,
stuff
I
he
can agree with
said
that.
was wild, but he said he's been saying some wild stuff. Some of the stuff he did say in this comedy special was wild, but if you guys listen to the actual special, it kind of comes full circle. Towards the end, he talks about a friend of his, a comic of his, who is transgender, a transgender woman, and who he kind of talks about his relationship with her and how he had her open up for him, and like he kind of joked like, oh yeah, it's kind of surprising because like I'm transphobic. So I from what I got from it, it was kind of like people were calling him transphobic. So he was gonna kind of like run with that and like kind of make fun of people calling him transphobic.